If you're someone who you find that you're always people pleasing, or you're trying to be a nice girl, you don't know how to say no to people even when your body, mind and soul is telling you to say no. You just feel drained from putting other people first. You want to learn how to put yourself first. This video is for you. Today we're going to be talking about how to stop being a nice girl and people pleaser and start living your life on your own terms. The first thing I'm going to talk about is, why do you find yourself people pleasing? If you don't know what people pleasing is basically when you're going out of your own boundaries. You may not even have boundaries, but let's say you attempted to set those boundaries. You're going out of those boundaries, or you're breaking those boundaries to do things for people, or to do things just so people would like you, or you feel accepted or a nice person. That's what I mean by people pleasing. Why do we do this? It's sort of wanting a feeling of being perceived as a nice person, a polite person, or likable person, or an accommodating person. You can still be all of those things and still not be a people pleaser. While being kind is great, being a pushover is not. You need to have your boundaries. You need to know where, okay, yeah, that's too nice, that's too kind, that's too sweet. Do you understand? Like, there are times where you just need to say, okay, no, this is not the life I'm about. No, I'm not doing this. No, I'm not comfortable with that. No, I'm not free to help you with this. No, I'm sorry, I cannot help you with this. You don't even have to apologize. There are times when you need to get to that point. Some of the reasons why we people please, one, I would say, is fear of rejection. Sometimes you, especially when we were in high school or university, you are trying to make friends and you're scared to say no. You just don't want to stand according to your boundary because they'll be like, oh, why are you doing this? And you just feel some sort of rejection from these particular people. I feel like that's one of the reasons why we people please. Another thing I would say is guilt complex. Oh my God, I used to experience this a lot back then. I would maybe say no to something because I could say no, but I would say no to something and then start feeling guilty about it. And then I overthink as to why I said no. I shouldn't have said no. I wish I didn't say no. You now start feeling bad for putting yourself first. Meanwhile, in hindsight or in reality, you're supposed to put yourself first. So that's another reason why I feel we people please. The next thing I'm going to say why we people please is for external validation. Just so you can get that external validation. You believe your worth comes from when you make people happy, or you believe your worth comes from when other people see you as a nice person. You believe you are important to someone because you're making them feel good about themselves. One thing I would say is, being nice is a facade, because you can be nice to someone but they're not seeing it as you being nice. So you think, oh, I'm being nice to this person, they're going to see me as a nice person, as a kind person, but they might not even be able to identify that. So if you're being nice to someone out of you wanting some sort of external validation, really? Is that the life you want to live? Is that the life you want to live? Being nice does not equate to you being a good person. You can be a good person personally without always having to be nice, because it can lead to disrespect. It can lead to being unappreciated and being neglected. You trying to be a nice person can lead to people disrespecting you. So one thing I would say is, just be yourself. The next point I'm going to talk about when it comes to how to stop being a nice girl is set clear boundaries. You know how I mentioned how we're breaking our boundaries just to look nice, or just so people can think or see us as nice people or a nice person? You need to start setting your boundaries and sticking to those boundaries. Say no when it's necessary. If someone is telling you to help them out with something and you know within yourself you cannot help them out, or it's going to go against your will or your belief or what you truly want to do, say no. Like I always say, nobody's going to come to your house and beat you. You're an adult. One thing I know I've learned as an adult, especially in my self-development journey, is saying no. Back in the day, sometimes I would say yes, but yet there are certain things that I would not break my belief or my boundary for, especially when it just came to certain things I did not think were morally right. I would say no. And once I say no, that's it. My friends, they would always say it. If Glory says no, it's a no. Like, say no, because it's very necessary to protect your time, your energy, and your mental health. If you're saying yes when you need to say no, that's not going to help you in any way, shape, or form. Another thing under this point that I'm going to say is, stop over explaining. You owe nobody an explanation. Like, Have you seen unhinged people? Become unhinged. That's what I would say. Just do things because you want to do them, not because you're trying not to hurt someone. Sometimes you need to stop over explaining yourself. Don't owe anyone a long explanation as to why you're saying no to them or why you're saying no to their request. It's simply no, I cannot do it. It's enough. If they ask why, sometimes just say because I don't want to. You necessarily do not have to explain, I'm going to be doing this and this and that, so I cannot do this. No, just say no, I'm not available, I can't do it. Another thing is to prioritize your own needs first. Sometimes when it comes to people pleasing, we want to do what other people want us to do before we do what we want to do. I remember, for example, back then when I was with my friends and I needed to, let's say, record a content and they were probably going out, I would say, all right, do this, I'll see you guys when you guys get back. I'm going to sit at home and I'm going to record my video, or you guys are going to wait for me to finish recording my video and then we can all go out together. So make sure you're prioritizing yourself first and you're doing what you want to do before you do what other people want you to do. You necessarily do not even have to do what other people want you to do. Just do what you feel comfortable doing. Another trick I would say that helps me is doing the delayed response. I actually do it when it comes to my work. When I get a deal or when an agency contacts me for a job and they're asking me on the spot, sometimes I get anxiety. Back then I get anxiety when I'm talking on the phone with for serious things. So one thing I do is when I'm speaking on the phone and we're talking about certain things and they ask me my rate and everything, usually I would just say a particular thing, but I told myself I have to ask myself certain questions. So one thing I always say is, okay, give me time to think about it. I have a few questions, I can send them to you via text. Me saying that gives me the upper hand because I'm able to have a delayed response, not just respond on the spot because they want me to do it, so they're trying to rush me. And one thing I've noticed is when someone is trying to rush you, they're trying to take advantage of you. Not in every situation, sometimes they might be in a hurry, but if someone is trying to get you to do something immediately or quickly, they either do not want you to know the full situation of the whole thing, or they're trying to take advantage of you or your services or your rates. So when it comes to my job, one thing I always do is I always try to calm down. I'm like, okay, text me on WhatsApp, I would reply you, I have some questions. So I ask the questions I always want to ask on my own timing, replying on time obviously, and I give them the price that I want to charge for this particular job. So now it's up to them to answer me or not, because one thing I go by is I was living my life before this job came. So now that it came to me, these are the rules, or this is what I'm going to charge for it. If you don't agree to it, if it's not okay for you, fine, or you can look for someone else, because I'm not going to break my rates or break my boundaries all because you cannot afford to pay me that particular amount. So that's also something. And I also realized setting those boundaries of knowing what you want, it's not selfish, it's actually you respecting yourself. So you having self-respect for yourself. When people notice you don't really have self-respect, they tend to take advantage of that. So that's something I would say you should try to change. Another point I would say is let go of the need to be liked by everyone. Not everyone is going to like you, and that's okay. Not everyone is going to want to be your friend, and that's okay. Or I've always been someone, when I'm going somewhere or when I'm meeting new people, I'm more of in the, am I going to like this person? Are we going to get along? I'm not in the, I hope this person likes me. If you go with the point of, am I going to like this person and are we going to get along? You're not going to be in a situation where you want to do things to make the other person like you, or you're not going to be in a situation where you're going to break your boundaries, or you're going to want to, do things or try to people please, or try to smile when you don't even feel like smiling, or try to do things that you don't feel like doing simply because you want this person to like you. If you go with the mindset, for me, I don't know if that's good or bad, but for me, the mindset I go with, I'm open to meeting this person, I'm going to see if I like them or if I vibe with them, and if we don't vibe, that's perfectly okay. If you vibe, that's okay as well. Not everyone is going to like you. When you're trying to be liked by everyone, it's going to just cause burnout, and we don't want to be there. So instead of you worrying about if they like you, flip the script on them, play the Uno reverse card and ask yourself, do you like this person? Another way is to stop apologizing for everything. No, you don't need to apologize for having boundaries, and you don't need to apologize for putting yourself first. You do not need to apologize for saying no. Have you met certain people that just say, oh, sorry about this, oh, I'm so sorry, oh, no. No, don't do that. Okay, that's not what you want to be. I'm not saying be rude, or I'm not saying do things where, you know, if you're wrong, you apologize. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about when you just apologize for everything, even when it's not your fault, even when it's your fault, even when it does not relate to you. Saying sorry, you're still saying sorry to this person. I'm sure you guys have met people like that. I think sometimes, yes, they might just be genuinely nice, or they are just trying to people please. That's not what we want for ourselves, okay? We're not trying to be Mrs. Nice Girl or Miss Nice Girl and break our boundaries and put ourselves down. Another thing is confidence over approval. When you start valuing yourself, you stop needing others to validate you. When you have confidence over approval, you put yourself first. Have confidence in yourself. You know who you are. You know what you want. You know what you're doing with your life, and you're not trying to bring yourself down to make other people feel comfortable, or you're not trying to, you know, make people feel comfortable when you're uncomfortable. Once you have that confidence in yourself and in who you are, other people's validation of you or other people's thoughts of you is not even going to matter to you anymore. So these are some of the points that I would say can help you when it comes to you stopping people pleasing, when it comes to you being who you truly are, when it comes to you stepping into yourself, into your highest form, and not being a nice girl. Because sometimes people pleasing can really take a toll on our mental health. People pleasing can really take a toll on our emotional health. People pleasing can even take a toll on our physical time, because when you're busy out there people pleasing, you could be doing other things for yourself. You could be reading a book, you could be writing your thesis, you could be doing one or two things. Like, you could be doing so many other things than people pleasing. And I feel once we get to understand that people pleasing is just something of the mind, it's just you thinking too much, it's overthinking. You're basically overthinking about what the other person thinks. And one thing I got to understand in this life is your point of view is not another person's point of view. So many people can see different things, but how they see it, or from the point of view as to how they see it, is very different to what you're seeing. How you choose to interpret it is very different to how they choose to interpret it. So if you're busy people pleasing, or you're busy being a nice girl, you're breaking your boundaries, trying to make people like you, trying to fit in, and doing all of these things that you know are not best for you, how other people see you might not be how you think they're seeing you. You may think they're seeing you, oh, this person is a nice girl, I really like her. But no, they might be seeing you as, oh, she's a pushover, or she's someone that just says yes, or she's someone that agrees to any and everything. But do not be known for that. Work on yourself, build your boundaries, stay true to those boundaries. Understand that not everyone has to like you, and that is okay. People respect you more once you respect yourself. If you have self-respect, I'm telling you, you're going to get respect from other people. Because if you don't respect yourself, nobody's going to respect you. The first person who was supposed to respect you is not respecting you. That's you. And you need to understand that choosing yourself is okay. Putting yourself first is okay. Saying no is absolutely okay. Alright? Let me know what you guys have learned from this video. And also, are you someone who used to people please, and was this video helpful to you in any way? I'll be looking forward to your comments in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you in my next one. Bye!